Board of Education meeting of Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. Roll call, please. Or, pledge of allegiance first, I'm sorry. Please allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Secretary, roll call, please.
Ms. Bleich?
Here.
Mr. Holmgren?
He's absent.
Mr. Hyder?
Here.
Dr. Kopko? Here. Mr. Majer?
Here.
Mr. McDermott?
Here.
Mr. Warvick?
Here.
Mr. Reddick?
Here.
Mr. Stevens here, quorum established.
Thank you. Okay. This time I'd like to make the following announcement. Pursuant to the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act, the board president wishes to announce that at its regular meeting convened for general purposes on Tuesday, April 9, 2024, the Board of Education of the Hanover Area School District held an executive session to discuss matters of employee relations, labor negotiations, threatened or legal actual litigation, and went into closed or executive session at 5:10 p.m. and began the public meeting at 7 p.m. The subjects discussed in the executive session related solely to matters of employee relations, labor negotiations, threatened or actual litigations. At this time, do we have any public input on agenda items only? Mrs. Fosco?
Marianne Potsko, Hanover Township. What I'm going to bring up right now is this procedure that you have, or you plan on implementing. It sounds like the suicide awareness and prevention information. First of all, I'd like to know how many actual cases of suicide or suicide prevention have you been involved with in the past 2 years? I'm not asking names, I'm just asking how many instances you've had that you've had to deal with a suicidal student.
Can we talk about that, Mark?
I don't think you can if it involves personal protective information.
Not even a total? She's just looking for a total, not anything.
Just a number.
You can give
So thankfully, there has been no suicides in this district in the last 2 years. We consistently have students on a weekly basis considered in crisis. So what that end result would have been, I can't determine, but I'm just very thankful that we have had zero.
Wonderful, and that is terrific. What bothers me is that it sounds to me like you are planting the seeds of suicide. You want to start getting into classrooms in 6th grade, 6th through 12th. You want to start talking about depression. You want to start talking about suicide. When are these kids going to just be kids? We've never had to have these issues before. I don't understand why you want to plant these seeds. I really don't. You said you're going to integrate this education into health classes and other classes. What other classes? How many times a week are they going to be hearing about this? And you have teachers that are going to be educated 4 hours in a 5-year period. 4 hours of education. And they're going to be talking to students about something as serious as suicide and depression, on ways to handle it. We've done this with the masking. We've caused kids, done irreparable harm. They have lost so much in education in the past couple of years because of that masking and staying at home, and that's been proven. And then we come into transgendering, and we're putting ideas in kids' heads about, maybe you're not a boy, maybe you're not a girl. Kids that would have never thought about these things. If you have an occasional student that, God bless them, they do have a suicide problem or a depression problem, then you help them. But for this kind of nonsense to be paid for by the taxpayers, and to have this put into the kids' brains, in their minds now, I think is just disgusting. I really do. I don't see any reason for it. I don't see that it's going to benefit anybody. I don't even see it's going to benefit a child that is really having a problem. You can tell if a child is having a problem in school. Obviously you can tell because you said you've had referrals. So I don't understand why would you put this on all of the students and all of the teachers to start teaching something they are not experts in. This really, really, really upsets me. And then the fact that a coordinator may have to be hired to coordinate this whole thing that really is not necessary. I'm really asking the board to start thinking about yourselves, your children, when you were a child. Did you ever need this kind of nonsense? What I can see is, I can see a lot of people making a lot of money out of this. That's what I can see. I can see you causing a lot of doubt in kids. I can see kids talking about other kids. I can see referrals that are going to amount to a lot of money for a lot of people. And I think that's the whole reason behind it. And it really, really upsets me. For gosh sakes, let our kids be kids. Worry about teaching them. Worry about what they're learning in school. This was never necessary, and I don't believe it's necessary now. And if you look at all of the information that is in the proposed agreement, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm very disappointed in this board, and I hope to God the parents will start looking at what's going on in these schools and start demanding education rather than indoctrination.
Did you answer that, or is there a question there? What's that?
That was my question.
Are we allowed to talk? First of all, Mrs. Potsko, I agree with you, but unfortunately, to my knowledge, as a layperson here, Nathan, I just asked, are these things state mandated or not? Okay, so I'd like to know the answer to that question.
So yes, suicide is the #1 killer between students 16 to 24 years old. So I'm strongly in favor of this. And teaching at a younger age would teach students techniques to cope or where to go in case they had any ideology. I'm respectful of Ms. Potsko's opinion. I thank you, and it's a state mandate because of statistics. So
What are the statistics, and why is it mentioned in K through 5? You even mentioned K through 5 in your policy, because it's gonna worm its way into there. Why would little children have to be thinking about suicide and depression? God bless you, may get once in a blue moon that has a mental health issue, I understand that. But that's not up to this school district to decide their health care, and to make everything go right, and to decide on where they should be in these threat assessments and go through all of this stuff. That's between the parent and the doctor. It's unconscionable that you would actually put in through K through 12. You just said 16, the statistics are. And since when did they go up after all this transgender stuff? This was never a problem in all the years that I was on the school board, or that I attended school, or that my children attended school. None of this was an issue. All of a sudden, just like masking, which did cause irreparable harm, and it's been proven. This is going to cause problems in the future too, after you've inflicted this into kids, and give them the thoughts of depression, and given them the thoughts of this and that. My God, suicide in 5th grade, 6th grade, talking. Who are these experts that are gonna describe, and how many times a week are they gonna have? The state decided on the masking too. The state decided on transgenderism. The state made a lot of decisions, and they're making an awful lot of money on our kids with COOS and all these other programs.
I
It's
agree with
horrible.
that, but
It's
the
just
problem
horrible.
is it's the state's requesting or requiring this to be done. Because I'm guessing, Nathan, if we didn't do that, and something ever, God forbid, happened, we'd be in trouble. Because you didn't, I hear you, but unfortunately, Mrs. Potsko, I mean, I'm an old guy myself, and the things we have to worry about now, we never worried about, okay? And unfortunately, that's just the world we live in now.
But they implemented part of the problem.
That's absolutely.
I didn't hear you, Mike, what?
Everybody's admitting that the masking and sending kids home from the schools caused these problems. So they caused the problem, now they're creating the solutions, which filter into all this extra health care and it's a mental health facility instead of a
Absolutely.
educational system.
I hear you, thank you. Got your points, thank you. Anything else, anyone else as far as, agenda items only? Not seeing any, let's move into our agenda. We'll start with, jump ahead there. Approval and acceptance of the minutes. Do we have a motion?
Did you do roll call?
Yeah. We already did roll call.
Yeah, we did, yes.
Motion.
Motion by, is that Marjorie?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Second by Jake Hyder. Sorry,
No.
you guys, I can't hear.
No,
Huh?
Ms. Blight.
Oh, Ms. Bleich, I'm sorry. This is the problem with this setup here. Okay, so motion by Marjorie, second by Mrs. Blythe. Thank you. To approve the minutes, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Sorry about that, State. Superintendent's report.
Thanks, Mr. Chairperson. I want to announce the March Students of the Month at the Hanover Area School District. At the high school, Kaylee Remish. Kaylee Remish is the March Student of the Month. Kaylee is a member of the National Honor Society and holds the position as the treasurer. She's a student council president. She was on our inaugural female wrestling team. Softball, taking AP courses, been taking dual enrollment courses since last year. Going to graduate high school with 20 college credits. Her future intent is to be a traveling nurse, which she has already been taking courses to move towards that. So congratulations.
Congratulations, Kaylee.
Our CTC Student of the Month is Skylar Stenrock. Skylar is a student that has been our wrestling team for the last 3 years, member of our chess club, has been participating in co-op studies, currently working part-time and being a student athlete. He's at Garrett, he's working part-time. He plans to join the National Guard in the U.S. Army and plans to make some college choices, either Keystone or Bloomsburg University. Congratulations to Skylar. In addition to that, I just want to announce that our 8th grade team in a STEM project or a STEM competition called Connects, the Connects Design Competition. Our 8th grade team had won first place. Azalea Lewis and Yanalise Rivera Ramos, or Roman, they were on the 8th grade team, and then our 7th grade team placed second. Peyton Bird, Victoria Aurora, and Emily Pask. They are all victorious. I congratulate them. That is the conclusion of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Congratulations, everyone. Under general recommendations, we have items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Do we have a motion? Please say your name, because I can't hear anything.
Marjorie.
Motion by Mr. Marge. Do we have a second?
Second, Stevens.
By Mr. Stevens. All in favor? We all in favor? No, we roll call, right?
No.
Roll call, please. Thank you. I think I learned
Ms. Bleich?
Yes.
Mr. Hyder?
Yes.
Dr. Kopko?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Abstain on number 2 and good on the rest. Yes.
Mr. Warvick?
Yes.
Mr. Reddick?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens, yes. Mr. McDermott?
Yes. Thank you. Financial recommendations, items number 1 through 6. Do we have a motion?
Motion, margin.
Motion by Mr. Marger,
Second.
second by Mr. Stevens. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bleich?
Yes.
Mr. Hyder?
Yes.
Dr. Kopko?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Warvick?
Yes.
Mr. Reddick?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens, yes. Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Personnel recommendations, items, I will get to items 1 through 8. I'm sorry, items 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Item 2 on the agenda has been tabled. Do we have a motion?
No,
Motion
wait, Mr. Chairman, the motion to table that needs to be made, if that's,
Oh, okay, I
if that's
apologize.
the
Okay,
desire.
my apologies. Should we do that first, Mark?
You can do it
Okay,
any way
let's
you
do that
want.
first. On the motion to table item number 2, do we have a motion?
Motion, Hyder.
Motion by Mr. Hyder to
Second,
table
Marger.
item 2. Seconded by Mr. Marger?
Yes.
Roll call.
Ms. Bleich?
Yes.
Mr. Hyder?
Yes.
Dr. Kopko?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Warvick?
Yes.
Mr. Reddick?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens, yes. Mr. McDermott?
Yes. Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Solicitor, appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
And under items 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Mr. Barrett, you have something to say?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. On number 7, that's going to be pending the solicitor's negotiation for pending credits from the Hanover Area Education Association and the school district. There is still one item that's outstanding, but I am seeking, that's my recommendation to approve.
Thank you, so noted. Do we have a motion to accept?
Motion
by-
Orvik.
Okay, by Mr. Orvik, second. Second by her, Mrs. Bleich first. Second by Mrs. Bleich. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bleich?
Yes.
Mr. Hyder?
Yes.
Dr. Kopko?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Warvick?
Yes.
Mr. Reddick?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens, yes. Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Do we have any public comments on anything now? Mike?
Mike Potsko, Hanover Township. I'd just like to clarify something. The state cannot require a local government to institute any policy. This is an autonomous local government. You can choose or choose not to implement any policy, any portion of a policy, and that is how that's how the Commonwealth was established. They can threaten to withhold funds. They can do different things like that. The federal government blackmailed schools across the country when they tried to remove hunting and shooting type programs and threatened to withhold food money going to students. That's a way that they can pressure local governments into doing what they want. So no, the state cannot require. They can certainly go out of their way to make it fiscally necessary, but I would just kind of caution you on that. And the other thing I wanted to mention is I've seen a ton of policy changes and funds going out and people being hired for all this mental health care. I'm seeing that we're going to start spending money on athletic facilities and different facilities throughout the district. How many projects and how many funds have been allocated during any of these meetings that are addressing the educational performance of our students? Do we know what the educational performance is at the moment? Are we at the average in the state? Are we below average? Are we above average? It's never talked about. The only thing we hear about is mental health, and that's part of the frustration as a taxpayer that this is an educational facility, and I believe personally that after the debacle that was COVID, that our scores went into the tank. And I don't hear about any progress or any push to change that. I don't, and maybe there are things. There's nothing financially being done because it would have to be voted on, I would imagine. But you know, there's a huge stress on this mental health, and that's all the public hears about. The people who do come here and see the agendas and different things like that. I personally would like to see what's being done and how we're doing as a district educationally.
Michael, I would like to touch upon that. In our October meeting, Krista Langdon's here. Krista, and I don't want to put Krista on the spot, but every single of the 3 major state assessment high stakes tests, her building has shown improvement in every single one of those 3 categories. Ms. Rupert is here today. Out of the high schools, 11 of 13 categories have shown tremendous academic growth. Every single building in this district has had academic growth. Do we still fall below state average? We most certainly do. But every single student, based on an academic growth on an individual basis, called a value-added system, for the vast majority, she had a percentile, about 89% of her students have shown growth. In October, I had presented here at this board meeting. I believe it was October, I'm going off the top of my head, but that's when that data was released. I would be happy.
I agree. I was here for it. I remember it. That's 6 months ago.
That was from last year's data. I have nothing new
get it.
until next year at that.
But again, there's no money being spent on it that I can see.
Well, there most certainly is. I can show you
That
the
we don't-
software.
That we're not voting on?
All this stuff would be voted, so anything implemented over summer, anything we're gonna implement would be done over summer. So, for example, is we have been obtaining a lot of grants, so today, I was able to obtain a grant for summer school. So, that will be rolled out and announced, because I didn't have time to prepare today for that. But that would be for students to not experience what they call the summer slide. So we are continuing to grow academically in this district. I would sit down with you and I would show you every single piece of statistic in every building, beyond third grade, because that's the only data we're gonna show.
And if I may add, Mr. Posco, any individual can go on a site labeled Future Ready, and not only could you get our data by school, but I'm often on there and I'm comparing us to similarly situated school districts. And as Mr. Barrett said, there has been growth. We are not by far the only ones under the state average, but we're making improvement. A large part of that, having the experience of writing curriculum at the college level, I believe, my thesis is that as this school district is growing, so is our economically disadvantaged rate. So is our special education requirements, which is costly. So if you're interested, the Future Ready site, you can check that out and it gives statistics and you can compare Hanover area to other school districts, which I do often.
I guess my point is, I'd like to see funding going towards, I just don't, I don't see what we're doing differently to improve things. And to say we're improving on such a slide back, I mean, until we get to where we were, is it, I mean, I get that you can call it improvement, but man,
Oh, there's a lot of work to do. There's clearly a lot of work to do, but
and we're spending the money on mental health facilities, mental health programs, and mental health personnel. That I personally, as a taxpayer, and just like I said, going through schools, I've you know, there's 100 different experiences and different ways people are affected by different things, but I would think spending that money on personnel hires that impact education would be beneficial, and I just don't very much see it. That's the frustration that we're trying to voice tonight.
there has been money, though, as Mr. Barrett could detail to you, for the purposes of academic improvement, and that is access to independent research material for student projects, a whole host of things that we're doing. And we have made improvement. Are we where we want to be? Absolutely not. But then again, neither are many other school districts either. I think we're moving in the right direction. If I didn't think so, I would say that right here. But it's a long road. And you're right, Mrs. Potsko, there is learning loss and there's a lot to do. But I think we're all aware of that and attempting to tackle the problem.
I would just like to, like I said, voice the education, the improvement in education should take priority over this mental health stuff. And that's where, as one taxpayer, that's where I stand. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public input from anyone? Not seeing any, just a little housekeeping, board members, I apologize. We went through the superintendent's report, we never approved it. So I would ask now, do we have a motion to accept the superintendent's report?
Motion, Hyder.
Motion by Jake Hyder, do we have a second?
Second.
Reddick, second.
By Mr. Reddick, I think it was that time.
It was.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion carries. One thing real quick, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even get a chance to talk to the board about this, but I talked to Mr. Barrett this afternoon about this, just really quickly. I'd like to see if the board doesn't have any objections to us moving up onto the stage. The reason is not to think we're above anything or any of that. It's just, I have a hard time, me personally, hearing what's going on from these, our microphones stink. That's my opinion. And I can't really hear you guys. So I'd like to be up there where you could be front and center in front of all of us. And I don't have to be guessing who's making motions here.
Brian,
Yes, sir.
it'll be worse on the stage.
It would what?
It's worse on the stage.
It's worse on the stage. Okay, then I wouldn't know that. Okay, so we gotta figure something out, guys, 'cause it's, all right, fair enough. So we'll probably be down here next meeting too. I just wanted to mention that. Anything else on the agenda, anything? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Motion by Stevens, second by Mr. Majer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. See you all next meeting. Thank you.